Hey folks, what's up? Will here once again for another fight card prediction. We're going to be breaking down UFC Shanghai, Bisping v Gastelum from UFC's very first trip to mainland China with Bisping against Gastelum as your main event there. Just a apology for getting this out quite late. It is early Thursday morning. I managed to go and hurt my foot, pull ligaments in my foot. So I've had to deal with that first before I managed to get any of this done, I'm afraid. Just a couple other things. Thank you. We're nearly at 1,500 subscribers. As always, I appreciate your support. I think we're only 4 short. Other big news is that my YouTube channel is not going to be taken down. YouTube went through all my videos and found that I was not really condoning violence and anything. I just like speaking about fights. So that is awesome. So my YouTube channel is going to be staying around. So thank you very much for all the support that you guys were sending me through messages and on social media, on Twitter and so on. So it's pretty awesome. And also just go support the other guys who make videos out there and show them some love and support as well. So we're going to get into this card. I'm going to try not to take too much time. It's I think there's spots in this card where it could be good, but it's a lot of regional fighters from China. And yeah, a lot of fighters who probably shouldn't be in the UFC if I'm being perfectly honest with you here. So starting down in the heavyweight division with Cyril against Yadong, who's literally coming in here in about 5-6 days notice after James Mulherin got pulled due to USADA finding him he passed one of his tests, come up dirty. So I like Cyril in this one. I mean, Yao Hongzhu is very, very kind of early in his career. He's 3-0. What I've seen him, he likes to kind of put a grind against the fence, take down, and use kind of heavy ground and pound from there. I think Cyril is going to be a little too seasoned for who, and I think that Cyril is not really a great fighter in all honesty, but he's a fighter that if he gets top position and gets on top, he can rain some heavy ground and pound. We've seen that in the fight against Salikhov, where he did that and he won early. I pretty much see this fight kind of going similar to that. So I'm going to pick Cyril. I'm going to pick him via pretty much a decisive TKO. I think eventually he'll find a way to the ground and he'll use his ground and pound skills to finish the fight. So Asker's the pick there. Buren against Rolando D's up next. Now this is one I've been going back and forward on. When I was making the podcast for MMA Huddle, the new one, I was going to go with Buren a little bit. I felt that he could possibly work in his takedowns and kind of win rounds through that. So I went back and kind of watched Rolando D's 2 UFC fights that he lost and ultimately went and retired and then came back very, he got another opportunity. I think he maybe didn't think he was going to get another chance in the UFC, but they gave him one here. Buren, I watched some of his fights. I mean, he killed a dude with a nice slam in there. Pretty slow paced, not much output out of him, and just kind of does enough to kind of win fights. Where Rolando D, although he has lost a couple of UFC fights, he's shown that he has got some fairly decent hands. He can put his strikes together. He's aggressive. And that's ultimately where I'm kind of leaning with this fight. I think that the experience that he has got in the UFC is going to help him here. It's kind of weird because he went and retired and then he came back. So whether this is the fight that the UFC want to make the local fighter look good or they want to give Rolando D a kind of win in the UFC, it's kind of hard to really gauge what the UFC are doing with this one here. I'm going to pick Rolando D. I'm going to pick him across 3 rounds to win a decision. But yeah, it's some of these fights, like some of the tape for these fights, like the regional fighters wasn't great. And like I said, there's some fighters on here that shouldn't be on there. But I'm going to pick, regarding this fight, Rolando D is going to be my pick to win there. But yeah. Moving on to the women's bantamweight division with Jingliang Li against Gina Mazany. I saw the betting lines for this. I've not really looked at any of the betting lines at all, but for the simple fact that I don't think Gina Mazany should be a favourite over pretty much anybody in the UFC. Now, Jingliang Li, I know she's coming in here, and she's pretty reckless. She swings wild, but she's got a bit of power there, and I think she's got enough here to beat Gina Mazany. I really do. Mazany is she fought in tough. She got who was it? Juliana Pena. And Juliana Pena just ran through her in that one, and then she didn't fight for 3 years before fighting in Alaska, but then she got taken out very quickly by Sarah McMahon. She made Sarah McMahon look like a world beater when she's not. So yeah, I feel like I want to go with a newcomer here, but something's pushing me towards Mazany, but my initial thought when I saw this fight was I like the newcomer, and then when I saw the betting lines, not that I'm going to bet this fight, but I thought that's off. This should definitely be close, closer than what that is. I think Mazany, what she'll do, she'll come out very quick. She might be the superior fighter over the first round, but I can see Jianliang Li really coming into this fight later on and potentially just mixing everything up really well and winning the fight and winning the rounds through that. So I think I'm going to pick, if I'm picking it to go to decision, I think I'm going to pick Jianliang Li to win this fight here. So Jianliang Li is going to be the pick. I'm going to pick her via a 29-28 decision there. Heavyweight division. Sherman against Shamil Abdurakhimov. There is a lot of people on social media that are very hyped, or not really hyped, they're fans of Sherman. Now, I don't know whether it's really because of his fighting style or it's really because of his social media, because to be fair, his social media is really funny in certain parts. But I don't think he's all that great a fighter. He came into the UFC and he got boxed up really badly by Justin Ledet, and then he's probably faced two of the worst heavyweights that we have in the roster. Rashad Coulter, and I forgot who the other guy is. That's going to really annoy me now. Let me see, who was it? Darian Grabowski. So, I mean, he's fighting two guys that really are not UFC caliber heavyweights, and in those fights, especially the Rashad Coulter one, he really did chop down on Rashad Coulter, but there was times when he was getting hit when he had he didn't need to be taking those shots. So you can see that he's just kind of willing to get out there and hurt his opponent and not really kind of protect or defend the backlash that's coming his way here. Shamil Abdurakhimov, although not being like the most exciting heavyweight, he's probably one of the only kind of true point fighter heavyweights that we have out there, where I think his overall skill set is actually pretty decent. A decent counter striker. He's got some grappling in there as well, which I think he will try and use in this one. He will try and stifle and blanket Chase Sherman, and he just has to be careful with the striking of Sherman with his leg kicks and suckling off and attacking the legs. That's where I'm a little bit worried with this one here. But Shamil, I think, has fought better guys. He's went longer into fights with better guys. I mean, went in there with Derek Lewis, who he beat up Chase Sherman back in the day. And if that fight was over 3 rounds, he would have won that fight 30-27 pretty convincingly. So I think he can do it in this fight here. He can overall put his all-around MMA game together and just win the fight 30-27. I think it'll be quite convincing as well. If he doesn't get hit with a big shot, I think he wins convincingly. So Shamil via unanimous decision there. Yadong Song against Bharat Kandari here. This is the fight that Bharat Kandari has no right whatsoever, I don't think, of being in the UFC. Coming off a loss, and I feel a convincing loss via submission last time out. What I see from this young Indian fighter is I don't see a hell of a lot. He leaves his chin in the air, he swings hard, and is there to be hit. And but when he does get the fight to the ground, he can look decent down in there. He can blanket you and he can find submissions. But there's no way this kid should be in the UFC. It's far too early. I know it's for a very small fight pass card, but still, I don't really think he should be there. Yadong Song is another one who's coming in here very short notice after Liu Ping Yuan got pulled out. And I like what I see out of him. I think he's a young Chinese up-and-coming fighter, but he is still fairly green. But I do think he has enough, from what I've seen, to stop getting taken down. And I think if this stays in the feet, he's going to beat up Kandari fairly convincingly from there. So I can maybe see early on Kandari potentially getting a few takedowns and winning a round through that. But I can see Song coming in late into the fight and winning this fight. So I'm going to pick him to win via a decision here, maybe on a late TKO with some of his ground and pound that he has, because he has got some really big ground and pound as well, which I've seen like a few of the Chinese fighters actually have on this card as well. So I'm going to pick Song. I'm going to pick him via decision. So yeah, picking him for that one. Kallin Curran against Yang Xiaonan. Yeah, I watched the video today of Kallin Curran where she says she knows how to lose a fight, and I was thinking, what are you talking about? It's on MMA Junkie. Go and watch it, and it's just like honestly, why she's still in the UFC, I have no idea. She's not, like, for the amount of time she's been in the UFC and the amount of fights she's been in and lost, she should really be away fighting in regionals, if not Invicta. She's lost her last three. She's lost 5 or 6 fights in the UFC. And she's, to be honest with you, she's not really faced a caliber fighter in any one of those, even her 6 UFC fights. Paige Van Zandt, although she's not great as a fighter, she's okay. Alex Chambers, we've seen last week, she can lose to a 4-0 girl who's only had like a minute and a half longest time in a cage. Emily Kagan, she was losing that fight early on before finishing it in the 3rd round via submission. And then Felice Herrig came out, dominated her with inside 2 minutes. Jamie Moyle was a fight that I thought she could have had an opportunity to win there, but she got dominated fairly convincingly. And then Alexandra Albu, she gassed him after like a minute of that fight, and she still managed to lose that fight and being in superior positions in that fight. I cannot pick Kallin Curran one bit whatsoever. I don't think she's UFC caliber. I think she's losing to really bad girls that I think that Yan could actually go in there and win. And I think she's going to be sneaky good, this young Jianliang. So what I see from the newcomer here is that she's very aggressive, comes out those big strikes. She's got pretty big power for being a small girl. And her only loss is to Yana Kunitskaya as well, who's a Invicta champion. And it's fairly decent. So I think what's going to happen is that Kyllin's going to come out. She's going to look to establish herself on the feet. But I just think that once Yan starts putting on the pressure with kicks and so on, she will break Kallin Curran. So for me, I'm going to fade Kallin Curran again in this one. I think that Yan can actually go in there and just break her down over 3 rounds and win the decision. So Yang Jianliang is going to be the pick for that one there via decision. Welterweight division with Kenan Song against Bobby Nash. This is the definition of, I think, giving a fighter a win in the UFC. Kenan Song's lost his last 2 fights. You shouldn't be coming into the UFC losing 2 fights in a row. That loses the spectacle, I think, of coming into the UFC. Bobby Nash coming off 2 losses in the UFC. To be fair, he's looked okay in them as well. In the fight with Danny Roberts, I was there cage side and I was shouting hard for Danny Roberts. But I think Bobby won the first round and then he just got hit with a big shot that put him down. But when he plants his feet, and it was the same with the Li Jingliang fight, he had moments in that fight where he could definitely have won that fight. He hurt Li before getting taken out himself. Once he plants those feet and he throws some big thudding strikes, I heard them single-handedly, and they were really, really thudding shots. I just think this is not a gimme fight. I think it's a fight just to get him a win in the UFC, keep him around. He's faced 2 tough guys. I like him convincingly. I think he's going to take him down, and he's going to unleash some heavy ground and pound and put him to sleep. So Bobby Nash, I'm going to go 2nd round TKO victory there. The fight I'm most looking forward to in the entire card is Zabit Magomedsharipov against Sheymon Moraes. And I'm seeing a lot of people disrespecting Sheymon Moraes, man. I'm not going to be one of those people. Zabit, we've seen in his UFC debut against Mike Santiago. This guy has all the potential to be a blue chip prospect. Without a doubt, you can see it. You can see he's kind of got everything for that division. He's got like elite striking. Well, elite striking, I shouldn't really say that consider after one UFC fight, but really good, exciting striking. Will throw a lot of back kicks. Is very quick, huge for the division, long reach, and he showed with the Mike Santiago fight that he's got a ground game as well. Coming from a good gym in New Jersey with Mark Henry, and he's training with all the good fighters out there. We have Barbosas and you have Edgars and so on. These guys are raving about Zabit. But I'm still a little bit skeptical. I'm not skeptical, but I still need to see a little bit more. And I like this matchup against Sheymon Moraes. I think Moraes is a really tough fight. And I think that I saw the betting line for this. I think the betting line's a little bit off, considering we've only seen him once in the UFC. And Sheymon has been around for 10 fights or so. He's faced Marlon Moraes, Robbie Peralta, where he hit with a big shot. And I like some of the aspects of his game. I think that leg kicks are open there for Sheymon Moraes, most definitely. I think one of his tactics should be to try and cut him down and try and limit the movement of Zabit, because he likes to really push against the cage. To be fair, it doesn't really matter where he is. He will throw spinning shit from everywhere and just look to punish you. As long as he's going to try and fight a long distance, if Sheymon can get in and just get some leg kicks off quick initiate some of the striking exchanges and not get caught in them striking exchanges on the bad side of it, I should say, I think he could potentially give Zabit some problems here. But it's hard to really pick Moraes in this spot as well. So I'm going to pick Zabit. I'm going to pick him via a decision. I think it could be a 30-27. It could be a 29-28. But I think Sheymon Moraes is going to show us a little bit more than what people are writing Sheymon Moraes off, and it should never be the case with a guy that's been around a little bit and he's fought decent fighters as well. So I'm going to pick Zabit. I'm going to pick him via a unanimous decision here, but I think it could. There's some aspects of this fight that could end up being really close, and not saying that it could happen in a second. Like it wouldn't surprise me if Zabit went out there in the first 2 or 3 minutes and put this guy down. But I just think people are disrespecting Moraes a little bit. And I think he can at least get to decision. I'm not going to go with the stereotypical TKO victory or so on. I'm going to go with decision. I think it could be a hard-fought fight. So it's a beat for the win via decision there. Interesting fight. Muslim Salikhov makes his UFC debut against Alex Dominican Nightmare Garcia. Last week I watched a lot of tape on Muslim Salikhov and was actually I really liked what I saw of him. But then when I sat back and thought about it, he was fighting Ivan George and Melvin Gillard, 2 UFC vets. I mean, Gillard's been around for the longest time. They guys had no right being at 170 pounds. And this guy's literally fought on the regionals in China. He's like the second best welterweight in China. I can't remember the number 1 guy. I was looking at that the other day there. And he's the king of Kung Fu, he calls himself. He's got a really fast twitch with really fast spinning kicks, which he showed in the Gillard fight, which he showed in the Ivan George fight. But he's been fighting a lot of guys with like really bad records as well. So he hasn't faced anybody really of any potential. I don't think before he fought Ivan George and Melvin Gillard, he fought a 0-1 French guy who just had no right being in there. It's just bad matchmaking. And he's got a few fighters throughout his record, his last 5 or 6 fights, that have really bad records. So, but I do see where he has some aspects of this fight he could really do well in. I really like his leaping left hook, very, very fast with that. Obviously, like I was going on, like his spinning strikes, I really like. The one thing is that we haven't really seen too much of him on the ground. And the one fight that he has lost, he tried throwing that spinning attack and he got caught and taken down. And really, he just quit on the bottom. He didn't fight the hands when the choke went in. And he tapped out within inside about 30-40 seconds of getting taken to the ground. So that's something I think Alex Garcia can definitely do in this fight. People I think that are really selling this guy a little bit short, but I can see why they're doing that, because he has shown in the past that he can fade throughout the fight, and he has lost. I mean, Neil Magny is a ranked fighter. Sean Strickland, I think, decent fighter, and Tim Means on his night is a really dangerous fighter as well. But he's probably his biggest win is over Mike Pyle, which is not really saying too much. So I really want to pick Alex Garcia here, or I really think that he's got a good chance to actually win the fight. I do think that I'm not going to be as hyped on Salikhov after the fights that I've seen outside the UFC. He needs to show me in the UFC against guys who've been in the UFC for a long time and fought better opposition than what Salikhov has faced. But there is the aspect of Salikhov could come out here and knock him out in the first. I think Alex Garcia is going to come out and he's going to get takedowns. I see him winning round 1. Then it's interesting to see where we go in rounds 2 and 3, because then if Salikhov starts getting his shots off and starts pounding on Garcia could start toppling up and he could get taken out in the fight. But I think that Alex Garcia's got a really good opportunity to win a couple of rounds. But it's just something that's pushing me towards Salikhov, for the simple fact that Garcia does fade, and this guy has got really fast strikes that could catch Alex Garcia late on. So I'm either going to have to pick Muslim via TKO, or I'm going to have to I'm going to pick Alex Garcia. I'm going to go out on a limb here and pick Alex Garcia. And obviously, if I'm picking him to win here, I'm going to have to pick him. I don't think he stops Salikhov, but I think he wins via wrestling, which could be a little bit of a stretch. But initially, I was going to go with Muslim, but I've kind of been pushed towards Alex Garcia, and I'm going to stick with that. I've kind of changed my mind on that over the last kind of couple of hours. Where I'm kind of, you probably heard me in this, I'm flip-flopping a little bit. If Muslim doesn't knock him out, I think over the 3 rounds that Alex Garcia can win. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the underdog and Alex Garcia there to win the fight. Wang Juan against Alex Caceres next. That's another fight that's kind of interesting. Wang's a guy out there. He's only lost one fight. I think he's like 19-1, 33 years old. But fights tough. Fights tough against half decent guys out there as well. Really, it's slow paced fighter. Not much output with him. Counter strikes a lot. His main aspect of his game, which I liked a lot, was his ground and pound, like heavy, wild ground and pound that he can hit you from anywhere. And that's what I think he's going to look to try and do, is maybe take Alex Caceres down and use that heavy ground and pound. Alex Caceres, sometimes he baffles me a little bit, because I think sometimes he can fight up and he can fight down his opposition a little bit. I think he did that with Rolando D, fought down, and with Yair Rodriguez, I thought he fought up to his potential, and this fighter that he was against. And I've been flip-flopping with this one a little bit. My initial thought was actually Wang, but I'm actually changed my mind to Alex Caceres. I think the guy's a veteran of the UFC. He's been around for a long time, and he's won. His last win was Rolando D, but his losses are to good guys. Uriah Faber, a legend of the sport. Francisco Rivera is a really tough, hard-nosed fighter. Yair Rodriguez, Jason Knight, tough, high-ranked fighters as well. So over the 3 rounds, I just don't see Wang knocking Alex Caceres out. And I'm going to go Alex Caceres to win via decision. But honestly, it would not surprise me if Wang Juan went out there and won this fight. I feel more confident in Alex Caceres to win via 3 rounds over decision. Co-main event, Li Jingliang against Zak Ottow. Big fan of Li Jingliang. I just love the way he fights. Really in your face. Makes for close, exciting fights. He gets put down. He puts down people. And he's on a 3-fight win streak. Wins over Anton Zafia, Bobby Nash, like I mentioned earlier on, and Frank Camacho, who had an unbelievable fight in Sydney last week there. And I just like the way this guy fights. He's at Jackson Winklejohn's for this fight. So it'll be interesting to see how he's progressed down there in Albuquerque. And I think he's got a matchup here where if he stays disciplined and doesn't go gung-ho and gets sloppy, that he can win the fight. I love the fact that it's in China. They kind of give him that push of a co-main event. I think if the fight's close, I think he most likely will get a nod in the decision here. I want him to really stay technical, not be sloppy, because when he gets sloppy, that's when he gets caught. Bobby Nash hurt this guy when he got caught. So that's something that I'm just a little bit wary of. Zak Ottow, I think this is going to be his last fight in the UFC. I watched James Lynch's interview saying where he said that he might not be around after this one, win or lose. So interesting. He's 2-1 with wins over Kunimoto and Josh Buckman, and lost to Sergio Moraes. All of his wins are via very, very close splits. As you can probably see where I'm going, I like Lee, although I think Zak Ottow could make it very, very close. I think he's got that kind of game. He doesn't throw too much, but he's got a pretty decent straight jab. He can put it together all around together pretty well. I just like Li Jingliang. He's actually one of my most confident picks in this card. And I haven't bet anything, but the only bet I'm really looking at right now is Li Jingliang. Looking at the lines that we have in the UK here. So I'm going to pick Lee. I'm going to pick him via TKO. I'm going to pick him early round number 3 there. And the main event of the night, we have Michael the Count Bisping against Kelvin Gastelum. Michael Bisping's a guy. I'll hold my hand up and say that I'm not the biggest Michael Bisping fan, but this guy, for stepping in 3 weeks after losing his title, after getting beat, it was probably the biggest stage he's been on in his career. And he lost to GSP, who's coming back after 4 years. I should have seen GSP been able to do that. I just couldn't see it. I thought Bisping was going to show up and give it a big performance. I hate the fact he's coming in here 3 weeks' notice, but I respect the fact that he's doing so. Shows you the fighter that he is, that he'll step up. And, of course, he's probably getting paid well for it. But he's against a really tough guy in Kelvin Gastelum here. And people are disrespecting Michael Bisping in here. I know it's 3 weeks after being put in his ass and choked out by George St. Pierre. But Kelvin Gastelum, sometimes this guy should literally be a welterweight, but he just hasn't got the discipline to get himself down to that weight. He's not a big middleweight by any stretch of the imagination. Sometimes his fight IQ baffles me a little bit because he tried to wrestle with Chris Weidman where he had the clear advantage on the feet, and he could have found the chin of Chris Weidman, but he decided to try and take him down, which baffled me a little bit. Ultimately, I like Kelvin Gastelum in this spot, but I think the bookmakers, some people out there, are really, really disrespecting Michael Bisping because he has been around for so long and he knows what he's doing in that cage, and he's looking to rebound in a big way now. He hasn't got that title. He's got to, if he wants to chase after it again, he's got to start winning and start beating good guys. And Gastelum, although he should be fighting at a lower weight class, is a really good guy in this division. So I think Kelvin, I think if this fight goes on long, obviously I think he's got a really good gas tank. I think he's got a game where he could like put Michael Bisping down, and Michael's got to work hard to get himself back to his feet. That's what I was trying to say, not the gas tank. I do think he fights well, Kelvin Gastelum. I think he can conserve energy late on and probably keep that there, but we've not really seen that. But I like the hand speed of Kelvin Gastelum. I think eventually he's going to start putting combinations together that Michael Bisping isn't going to see coming. And ultimately, I see Kelvin Gastelum putting Michael Bisping down. So, actually, I want Michael Bisping to really do well in this fight, considering what he is doing coming up in here in 3 weeks' notice after having a fight. But I'm finding it hard to pick Michael Bisping in this spot, even though I found him really easy to pick in the last spot. And people were telling me on YouTube here that I was a moron for picking Bisping, and so be it. But that's how I seen that fight. I seen Bisping winning that fight at that time. So I'm struggling just to see it here. The short notice for the fight, Gastelum being training all for this camp for Anderson Silva before he got popped, and just I think the speed and maybe the youthful exuberance of Kelvin Gastelum will come to the fore here, and he'll win this fight via TKOs. I'm going to pick him TKO late round 3 for that one there. So that's my picks for UFC Fight Night Shanghai. We've got 2 cards next week, which is badass. We've got the tough finale, 26th finale, where we're going to see who's going to be the first ever UFC flyweight champion. And it looks like that card's going to be filled with at least 5 or 6 ladies fights from the show, because there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, there's like 5 fights on it already. So I'm guessing maybe 6 or 7 fights, maybe the whole entire cast of that show on there, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it is what it is. And then we've got UFC 218, Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo 2, which that card looks phenomenal. Really looking forward to that. So I will try and get out to you over the weekend. If not, I will get out Monday at best. Thank you very much, as always, for your support. And keep on supporting if you can. And I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.